What it do, YouTube? What it do? What it do? This is your brother tapping back in. It's been a while. I know it's been a while. But it's been a while for a reason. Let me turn that Bluetooth off. Get that right. It's been a while, y'all. Here we go. What's good? What's good? Y'all getting it live. Y'all getting it in the flesh. This is your brother Jay International tapping back in once again. On my way to my slave on a Sunday. And I'm not used to doing Sundays. I've been having the weekend off. I hate this. Okay, I know my seatbelt. Okay, I know this. Stop telling me. I know. But I ain't did the Sundays in a minute because I've been having the weekends off. But since I lost the other job, that just over broke, I'm back to this shit. But let me say this, man. I want to say this to everybody that's listening. There's a difference between a slave and there's a difference between the enslaved. Okay? A slave is one that accepts their slavery. They accept it and they learn to cope with it, and they don't desire. I'm sorry about that, y'all. This stupid vehicle keeps reminding you don't have your seatbelt. Okay, I know that. So stop. A slave is one that accepts their slavery. They accept that this is their fate. And then they start to cope, and then they start to adjust, and then their mindset starts to adapt to that frame of thought. Whereas the enslaved is one that, yes, is in slavery and realizes that they're enslaved, but they don't accept their slavery. They don't say, okay, well, I'm enslaved and I'm a slave. You know, they say I'm an enslaved person. I'm a prisoner of war. You know, this is my condition now, but this ain't where I want to stay. This ain't where I want to be. This ain't where I want to stay. And the thing is, a lot in this society, and I was thinking about this as I'm going to my slave, because this is my enslavement. This is my enslavement. I am aware of this as my enslavement. A job just over broke is my enslavement because I have to do this in order to survive in a capitalistic society. In a capitalistic society, you have to do these type of things. We know this. Oftentimes, it's not by choice. When you wake up in the morning, you know, and you roll out of the bed, you look at the alarm clock, it's about 3. You know, the alarm clock went off like 4 or 5 in the morning. And you looking at that alarm clock, and you know you want to roll back over and go to bed. You want to hit it and roll back over and go to bed. You know, you feel it, but you can't. Why? Because you got to go to your slave master, your job, so you can make these dead slave masters, because that's what they are, called money, right? So you can make these dead slave masters, and then you can pay your overseer, which is your landlord or whatever, the money, and the overseer, meanwhile, is planning to raise your money that you got to pay your overseer every year. They're gonna raise it again, right? And so you in a trap. This is a trap. You in a slavery trap, because you got to do this every day So you are in slavery. But a lot of people, and the majority, don't realize that, or maybe they just choose to ignore that. That's the reality. That they are enslaved. No, they are slaves. They are enslaved, but they choose to be slaves because they accept it. Where the enslaved doesn't accept it. The enslaved says, I got to get free. By hook or crook, some way, somehow. I got to escape this shit. And that's my thoughts. You know, when I'm around, you could see it in their face. You could see it in their countenance. They're happy being slaves. Or maybe they just masking. But why did this thought come to me? Because it came to me as I'm driving on my way to my slave, as I'm driving here, and then I'm stopping at the gas station and, I'm getting some coffee, I'm getting some snacks so I can, have throughout the day. And I'm looking in the faces of all these other individuals, and they just all look like willing, happy slaves. They all just look like willing, happy slaves. And it's depressing, man, because we can wake up. We all can wake up, the masses, and we can say, this ain't life. This ain't life. This ain't the way life is supposed to be. We are not supposed to be controlled by this elite class, the owners and operators that make up only 1%. Literally, the owners and operators that control these corporations that we had to be enslaved to, they only make up just 1%. Small percent, maybe even lesser than that, compared to the masses. But just think about that. If they are the 1%, we are the 99%, but they control us because they control the capital. They control the means of capital, right? And they make us trade our time, which is the most valuable asset one can have. Money is not valuable. Why? Because it has no value other than the value that we assign to it. It's a piece of paper made out of cotton. It's fiat. Your time is valuable. Your time is something that you cannot get back. Once an hour is gone, it's gone forever. I can lose $1 today, and I can have $1 tomorrow. See? So that's the reality, but we are trading our time for this fiat currency because the owners and operators of capital are making, who control this capitalistic system, are saying this is what we want, so we can be powerful, so we can have heaven on earth, and we'll keep the masses distracted. That's how we keep them in their hell on earth, because we'll be heavily distracted. We're distracted by social media. We're distracted by consumerism. We're distracted by TV, movies. We're distracted, and that's why we put up with this shit. Well, the ones that wake up, the ones that no longer choose to be distracted, they're the ones that's called crazy. They're the ones that looked at it as weird. Oh, why don't you go alone to get alone? Why don't you just accept things the way they are? Why don't you just be happy that you got a job? That's the mindset of the masses. But the people that wake up, their mindset is different. No, fuck all that. I want to be living like these motherfuckers. I want to go take vacations. I want to have 2 vacation homes in a main home. You know what I'm saying? I want to put my children through private college, through private school. I want the same things that they got. But that's the reality. So the enslaved masses who are willing slaves, they're different from the enslaved. And that's the difference. So as I'm going to work to my slave, my plantation, and I'm looking at the faces of all these individuals that's at the gas station, then I'm looking at the faces of all my colleagues, all I see in their face, in their countenance, is these are happy slaves. They don't want to break free. Because if we choose to break free, well, we make up the majority. The owner and operators make up the minority. And if we choose to say enough is enough, it'll change overnight. It won't be easy. It may not be bloodless, but guess what? When you want change when you want change, you're gonna have to go through some hardship. It may be bloody. People may lose their lives. That's the reality. In whenever a group of people wanted to stop being oppressed by a minority, it was always bloodshed. Look at the history of this country. When the colonies wanted to be free from Britain, they had to go to war. When the South and the North wanted to have the Union, but the South didn't want it, guess what? They went to war, civil war. So this is the history. Whenever people want change, that's going to have to be a reality. And people going to have to accept that. You know, that's a hard thing to accept. But that's the reality. Because what's going to come now, what's coming, what's here, is now the owners and the operators of capital are now going to replace your ass with robots and AI. And they don't give a damn what's going to happen to you and your family, because it ain't about morality, it's about that fiat currency. They are going to replace you with the robots and the AI, and you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do. It's going to be millions of us like this, not a small number. So that's my diatribe for today. I have to get into this, my slave. I have to. But we will chop it up on another one. With that being said, I'm out.